Hey guys, what's going on? So, in my last video, I talked to you guys about kind of the state of classic WoW and how some people kind of took things a little bit too hardcore and are now kind of burnt out or don't really know what to do next in the game, or they're just kind of staying away from certain things like PvP. So, I said that I was going to try and make some videos in the next few weeks that are just more about the spirit of classic. You know, it's not about min-maxing, it's just about kind of cool adventures that I get up to. And so in today's video, I wanted to show you my attempt at learning how to solo the final boss in Lower Blackrock Spire, which is Overlord Wyrmthalak. Now, this is a 5-man dungeon, as most of you guys know. You need to be probably about 55 plus to actually be able to get through this dungeon. So I knew that trying to solo the final boss as a level 60 was going to be rather difficult. Now, when you're looking to solo any content in a dungeon, there's a few things that you should really look for. First off, you should look for different terrain where you can use it as a kiting strategy. And then you also, what is really helpful is finding a spot where you can reset. So you basically evade the mobs. The mobs can't reach you, and so you drop combat and they go back to, you know, their spawn location. And so that's what you saw there, was a boulder that I found that if you jump down on top of that boulder, that it will essentially evade the mobs and they'll run back. So it's just kind of a clever use of terrain. So basically what I'm doing here is I need to clear a pathway to get back down to this ledge. So the easiest way to do this would to actually be to jump down into those, like the pit of scorpions, to get down to this ledge. But if I do that, the scorpions will kill me before I can get to the edge and jump off. So the first thing I just need to do is clean up the scorpion mobs, and they do have quite a bit of health and they do a lot of damage. So in bear form, it's not as crazy, but they do like 200 damage on their hits, and there's about 10 of the scorpion mobs in that little cubby area where they all are. So they hit pretty hard, and you need to be careful. Luckily, I have a lot of armor gear that I'm equipping to make sure that I take as little damage as possible. But if you're like a caster or something like that and you just let them white hit you, they're going to do tons and tons of damage. So I have to kill like 2 or 3 of them, and then what happens is there's few enough that I can survive the whole time and kill them all. So that's basically what you see me doing here, is I'd kill one, reset, kill another, reset, and then I get to a point where I can handle them all at once. And so this kind of is a long process, but what it's going to allow you to do is reset mobs and have a safe spot in the dungeon, which is very, very important, obviously. So you don't always have to be taking deaths and running all the way back, because not only is that expensive in terms of repairs, but also it just gets really, really tedious. And also, one thing I should mention is, I believe I know on private servers they were like this too, but I honestly think in true classic those bugs also respawned pretty quickly. But in this version of classic, every mob within this dungeon respawns on a 2-hour window, so you don't really have to worry about the bugs respawning super fast. You'll have plenty of time. You just need to take them out so that you'll have, like I said, a route down to that evade spot. So we're going to quickly loot these up, and then what we're going to do is, we are wearing a lot of armor gear to be able to soak up those white hits from the bugs, but now I want to switch over to a lot of intellect and a fair amount of stamina. So basically you could think of it's more of like your PvP gear. So you just want to have a good amount of health and mana. This will allow you to take some damage, but also just have a large enough mana pool that you can carry a fight for a while. So now the next part comes in. We have our safe spot, and now what we need to do is figure out a way to kill these mobs without taking a ton of damage. And how we're going to do that is this ledge right here. So we cleared the scorpions below that gap right there, and this allows us to jump back and forth across this gap. It's just big enough gap for us to clear with our character, so you do have to be careful. It's kind of hard. Sometimes you will fall down, and that's okay. You just go to your reset point. And yeah, at this point we just slowly start hopping back and forth, applying dots, using our wrath when we can. That's the only spell that's going to have a short enough cast time for their travel time. And we basically have to do this all the way up till the last boss, Wyrmthalak. So while I have to actually make a clear path all the way up to Wyrmthalak. So this is kind of the only way I found to do it. If you guys know of a different way, feel free to share, but right now is the most effective way that I've found. So with that being said, I'm going to just play some music and let you guys watch. I'm going to put a timestamp to when I get to Wyrmthalak. Okay guys, now is the time where we start doing Overlord or Wyrmthalak. So this encounter would only take probably about 10 minutes if we didn't have to clear up to him, but since we're having to clear so much trash up to him, it took more hour and 10-20 minutes. I'm not exactly sure because I was timing myself, but then I had to go AFK for a while, and so it's something around there. If you were doing it really fast and clean, you could probably do it a little quicker. But obviously this is not like a gold farming method or anything like that. It's just like a little challenge to see if I was able to do it. Going into it, I wasn't really sure, and it turns out you can. It just is a bit tricky. So in terms of the actual fight itself, it's very, very simple. You basically just dot Wyrmthalak up, and then all you're going to do is allow him to start pathing down, and then you just jump up that little ledge, and it's going to make him run back to his original location. And you just do that over and over again. I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. He's going to summon 2 ads to come help him at around 70%. I did attempt one time to not kill the ads and just focus on him, and what happened is the ads and him kind of got out of sync in terms of where they were on the map, and so I was taking a lot of unnecessary damage, dying and running out of mana. So I'm going to speed up the footage, but definitely when the mobs come, if you're going to do this run yourself, when the mobs come, definitely focus on them. Focus on the Berserker first, he has the lowest health, and then on the Ogre. I think they're called like the Warlords, and that is the best way you can do it. In terms of if they kind of get out of sync, you'll see that I kind of stay up top for a little bit and let the mobs kind of beat on me a bit till they kind of get grouped back up, and this will allow you to make sure that they kind of stay in the same general area, because if they're really spread out on the map, obviously if you're up top and you're getting hit by one of them and the other is down below, then when you jump you're just going to get hit by the other. So you have to keep them kind of in a tight ball, and that's kind of the best way of doing it. That's how I've found how it worked this one time. Other than that, one thing I did notice is if you let Wyrmthalak run too far down to the point where he's like near the bottom and you're also like trying to get back up, he sometimes like bugs out and it's basically like evading and his health will reset. So just make sure that you kind of jump back up before he's made it all the way down to that little jump that you have to make. Other than that, guys, hope you liked this video. I know it was something different. It's definitely not like a gold making guide or any kind of optimized strategy. You're obviously better off just finding a group for this dungeon and doing it with a group. But I just found this a lot of fun to try and push myself and see if I was able to solo the final boss as a druid. I don't really know if anyone else has done that. And like I said, going into this, I wasn't even sure if I could. So if you like this type of video, definitely let me know. I have some other clips of me soloing most of the bosses in Blackrock Depths, and a few other dungeons. I also have myself farming, what's his name? Omok, the first boss in this dungeon. So he drops a pretty good mace for DPS Druid. And then he also drops, obviously, those cloth caster leggings. And if you're a resto druid, it's oftentimes pretty hard to get your hands on those because other DPS are going to want those. So if you want to solo it by yourself, you obviously can do that. Anyways, yeah, hopefully you like this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.